This session explores how sound, memory, and performance can be carefully archived without actually losing their soul. And for this, please welcome Jayakumar Bharadwaj, researcher in South Indian history and founder of Prastara, a non-profit organization dedicated to the documentation, conservation, and revitalization of tangible and intangible heritage with a strong focus on education and community outreach.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां. Namaskaram. It gives me a great pleasure to be here at my alma mater, Kalakshetra Foundation. My pranams to Srimati Rukmini Devi, the visionary founder of this institution. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to speak on the specific subject of keeping archiving as a primary focus to safeguard our intangible heritage. So I'm not going to be talking much about temple architecture and iconography much usually, which is what I focus on. Rather, my experiences and the need for archiving to preserve and sustain our intangible heritage. And I would like to begin with a story that happened during when the horrible pandemic hit us. In June 2021, one of the staff members of Real World Studios in UK, set up by Peter Gabriel and Stony Brooks. Peter Gabriel's staff member was going through, they were about to vacate one of the warehouses. They found this unreleased recordings of the legendary Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. This was recorded by Michael Brooks in the 1990 when Nusrat ji was visiting UK. And the recording was for hours together, and it was recorded on a tape, as it was in those days, and it was stored and forgotten. In 2021, it was rediscovered. As you all know, the tape was affected by a bit of fungus, and then they used the best professionals to clean it up and digitize and released. It was released in 2024 September. There is a lovely documentary for 10 minutes called The Chain of Light. That's the album's name. And the documentary speaks about how it was discovered and so meticulously done. On one hand, we keep talking about how proud as a Bharatiya we are taught to be proud. And every day we are losing cultural material. Even as I speak now, we are losing something in our country that has to be safeguarded and preserved and protected. And technology, archiving, documenting, publishing, most importantly, sharing is what is going to preserve our intangible heritage. The reason I started with it because I studied in the same institution between 2001 to 2006, and I worked here as an archivist, archiving a lot of materials at this institution. My very first project was a retrospective of Sri M.D. Ramanathan. I went on to look for the collections, and one particular collection from Mr. Sarangarajan, son of great Tamil writer Ku Alagirisamy. He was an ardent fan of M.D. Ramanathan. We had more than 300 to 400 cassettes. I sat and digitized them meticulously, and I'm sure it is still there in our archives. Along with that, many material that related to the history of Kalakshetra and the institution and the connections with Theosophical Society, Rukmini Devi and her friends, the many dance performances and music recordings, particularly one music recording of M.S. Subbalakshmi when she performed in Kalakshetra. It was a regular concert. What is very important in that was in between the concert, there was a 2-minute talk by Mysore Vasudevacharya appreciating M.S. Amma's music. I found that in one of the spool recordings. So it was a matter of joy and a pleasure to listen to that great composer's voice speaking about a very young musician at that time. So archiving is very essential. And what you see here at the background of this first slide is the Panchamukha Vadyam, what we call Kudamura. Generally we call that as Kudamura, one of the most ancient instruments mentioned in Silappadigaram and widely now used in Kudiyatam in Kerala. This particular Panchamukha Vadyam is in Tiruvarur, Tyagaraja Swami temple. And till about 20-30 years ago, this was regularly played during the Sai Raksha ritual of the temple, played by Shankar Muttukarar. And after that, his son, unfortunately, who couldn't continue the tradition, somebody from the family, a lady, is very enthusiastically practicing this and playing this for Tyagaraja Swami. Unfortunately, she has not learnt it. She has seen her father and uncle playing it. So by seeing and observing, she has been playing it. The reason I'm trying to tell you is the Kudamura is being written about, spoken about, and there is a wonderful book by Dr. Koduvayil Balasubramanian titled Kudamura, speaking about this origin of this instrument and then how it is represented in architecture and sculpture. And there is a particular manuscript called Panchamukha Vadya Lakshanam lying in Saraswati Mahal Library, a copy of which now with the family members. But unfortunately, with the help of the manuscript, you won't be able to learn, decode, and play the instrument today. That is the challenge. So the continuation of the tradition is more essential, equally important, as important as documenting them and archiving them. That's what I want to begin my presentation with. I will keep it very short. I will finish it in next 15 minutes. Next. Yeah, we can. So intangible heritage, music, performing arts, and we broadly speak on that. The challenge is there are numerous performing arts traditions that are associated with religious spaces such as temples, and we are yet to document them, archive them properly. We find numerous recordings lying around all over the world. It's time we focus on investing on technology and then maintaining that technology to preserve these cultural treasures. The reason I'm telling you is this. In 2013, I was sent as a representative of Kalakshetra Foundation to Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, IGNCA, in New Delhi. When the first meeting was convened, when Ms. Deepali Khanna was the member secretary, IGNCA, to present about Kalakshetra's archives, the National Archival Mission, and in 2014 they gave it a different name. More than 60,000 hours of materials have been digitized so far, and then it's been uploaded on IGNCA portal. You can go and Google up. You can look it up, including Kalakshetra dance dramas. Some of the old video recordings are available online. Unfortunately, they are not done with a great quality. I say it with so much of sadness, because what happens is when you keep it as one center where you ask, the IGNCA is collaborating with 27 cultural institutions across the country to support them in this initiative. They have been doing some phenomenal work in terms of digitizing not just audio material, video materials, and you have manuscripts, you have paper manuscripts, you have photographs, slides, and nitrate plates. Most of you wouldn't know what it is, because we have that in Kalakshetra also. I'm sure it's still there, being kept very well. And all these are sent to an agency, and then they digitize it, and then they're supposed to safeguard it. Unfortunately, we are doing it in a very, very fast pace. We are not paying attention to the quality. That is my problem with what is happening in India, because everybody is so proud of our culture, heritage, intangible, tangible, performing arts, everything is fine. Unless we start carrying and doing some actual work on the ground, we will not have anything to be proud of in the future. If it can happen to a 1,500-year-old temple, it can happen to a 300-year-old manuscript, believe me. Because on daily basis, we are vandalizing sculptures, because I'm not talking about sculptures and temples here, because my focus is primarily intangible heritage. So we have so much to be done on that front. Keep going. So next. So this was the next. So this was the goal of IGNCA when we went for our first meeting in New Delhi, and 20 plus, 27 plus cultural organization, and including that Kalakshetra's material went out along with the collections from Sampradaya. Once upon a time, the collections were housed here, and all that are being available now. Even yesterday, I was telling Kritika about Somasundara Oduvar, the Pannir Thirumarai singers recording is available online. And please utilize and go and see the kind of work that's been done in archiving and documentation and digitization. We can do much better, but some amazing recordings are available for us to learn from, to get inspired from, including recordings from this institution. When I was working in Kalakshetra, as I said earlier, we went on to look for recordings of M.D. Ramanathan sir in Doordarshan and All India Radio Chennai. We found a lot of audio spool tapes and etc. What had happened is, due to the shortage of tapes, they had re-recorded something else over that recording of those concerts. And during my archiving work in Kalakshetra, there was a centenary volume that was made for Tiger Vardacharya. There is a transcription of his speech delivered in All India Radio Trichy in the 1940s, late 40s. So I started to look around for that recording. Unfortunately, we couldn't find that recording. However, what he spoke was available. As I said earlier, during one of the concerts of M.S. Subbulakshmi at this very campus, Mysuru Vasudevachar's speaking, that clip is available. It is still there in Kalakshetra's archives, I'm sure. But Tiger Vardachari, we had lost it because they couldn't find the tape. I'm sure they had sort of overwritten. This has happened to M.D. Ramanathan sir's recordings, many of older recordings of many great masters. So today we are at a place where we can afford technology, where we are able to invest so much in modern technology in order to digitize, preserve, and archive. Today, the flip side of the technology is we think anything that we shoot and then put it on Instagram or YouTube, any other medium becomes an archival material. Unfortunately, that's not the case. An archival material has to be done in a particular way, and then you have to preserve it. You need to ensure it is stored so that it becomes a material for learning and publishing and so on. Next. So as we are talking about digitizing, that's the first challenge that we have in our country today, because there is so much to do. As I said, all the video clippings and the videographs of Rukmini Devi's dance dramas and other recordings from across the country are there in IGNCA archive, IGNCA website. And there is a sheet that describes about how it was technical analysis of the condition of the tape, condition of the recording, quality of the recording, all that are mentioned. Some of them could have been done in a better way, I would say, because they follow the guidelines given by the International Association of Sound and Audiovisual Archives. This is a global organization which gives the suggestion and the standard in which our archiving should be done. And those tapes, unfortunately, in fact, there is a documentary on T. Brinda Amma done by Sampradaya. You Google it up. Now, there is a YouTube channel called Brinda Mukti. The quality in that particular YouTube channel is far more superior than the one that's been uploaded on IGNCA one. This is the fact. You can go and check it out because there is so much of background noise and overlapping that has taken place. But on the other hand, there are some individuals and NGOs, some organizations such as Avalamba, are doing some phenomenal work in terms of digitizing and archiving. So that is my only thing that we lack today. So because everything is great, everything is fantastic in our country in terms of culture, heritage, how are we going to safeguard them is going to be a challenge. Tangible ones, we have a lot of work to be done. Intangible heritage, we are losing every day. The first slide I showed you of a Panchamukha Vadyam, one more temple near Nagapattinam is Tiruthurai. There is a Panchamukha Vadyam that was made in the time of Kulothunga Chola III, if I'm not wrong. It has an inscription on the instrument itself. My NGO, Prastara, for the last 5 years have been working on reviving the musical traditions of temples in Tamil Nadu. We have been identifying Nadaswaram players and Tabal players and Oduvars, appointing them in the local temple, and their monthly remuneration is paid by our NGO. So far, we are doing it for 30 temples. In this process, what we identified was I wanted to know what are the ragas that are played in that particular temple. There is no data. On one hand, the temple, the icons and the structure of it is tangible heritage. The agamas related to the temple and the musical and performing arts related to the temple are intangible. It's not been recorded, it's not been written down unless it's been handed over by a guru to his son or his student. This tradition in that particular temple is not being followed. So we are trying so hard to revive that and then try to find out through various means how to restore those traditions, especially this instrument in Tiruthurai, it's not been played for years. The only person who's trained to play that instrument in that temple is running a garage. He is a mechanic and he is not keen to come and play this instrument. So we have been sort of requesting him to come and play at least once in a while, because it is played only on particular occasions, unlike Thiruvarur Tyagaraja Swami temple where the instrument is being played every day. Even that, it's not been videographed. So much of technology have advanced in the last 40, 50 years. We have paid very little attention towards documenting and archiving these traditions, and we have to do that. Similar to that, we have the rich Nadaswaram and Tamil music traditions. We have so much in India. I'm just speaking on what I have been working on the last 5 to 7 years. Nadaswaram Tamil traditions, we have lost many repertoire. Especially during the many NGOs and individuals have been attempting to document these traditions. We are also trying our best, but which is not still not enough. We have to focus on so much repertoire. In a sense, there are certain compositions that are played only in Nadaswaram. For example, when Shiva comes out of a temple as Bhikshatana, a particular piece called Udakuru is played. Udakuru, the composition is very, very metaphorical in its nature, which speaks about the decaying body of humans, Udakuru. Okay, and then you also have the various Mallaris during the processions. Some of them are retained, some of them are lost due to the overlook, the oversight that we have. And similar to that, recently I had an opportunity to document a great Nadaswaram legend, the Kirvelur N.G. Ganesan. This is on behalf of District Collector of Nagapattinam. He was kind enough to, make me to request me to work with this artist. There I found out this Nadaswaram artist has created basic lessons that are essential for the Nadaswaram players to be trained. We usually learn Sarali Varisai and Janta Varisai and Dhatu Varisai, but he has created exclusively for Nadaswaram. So he told me, it was revealed to me, it was a news to me. I never knew that such lessons existed, because all these years I have been interacting with them. I asked many of his students whether we can document them. Now we are going to do that. So there is so much to be done. We think we know the tradition, we know the culture. There is so much to be done on that front as well. So we have, as I said earlier, the archiving is, we need to collect the data, collect the recordings from individuals, because Chennai is a treasure trove, and then the other city I have come across is Mysore and Bangalore, and Coimbatore. I know Sri Vikram Sampatji long before, when he was heading IGNC in Bangalore. I had an opportunity to work with him on an exhibition on Tanjavur Brihadishwara temple. He had done some phenomenal work on collecting some of the finest recordings of Coimbatore Thai and others. And there is so much to be done even now, because there are interviews of Oduvars recorded by Sampradaya. It's still sitting. And when I was trying to work on this particular tradition of Oduvar tradition, Panniru Tirumurai, which is yet to be included in intangible heritage. After all these years, we have managed to get the Vedas, the Vedic chanting onto intangible heritage, but Divya Prabandham and Devaram, the Panniru Tirumurai, are yet to be included. I think we should get on that and then do that. I'm sorry if I'm talking in a very, very negative connotation. I'm very positive about the outcomes, but we have to give a lot of effort into this. So the Panniru Tirumurai tradition, interestingly, till Tiruchi Pudukkottai region, there is a tradition that exists where the Oduvars are singing the Thevarams. And from down south, from Pandya Nadu, all the way till Nagarkoil and Kanyakumari. From 18th to 19th century onwards, there is a tradition of Hindustani instrument sarangi accompanying the Oduar inside the temple. That's a very, very peculiar tradition. I have not come across those Oduars whom I have interacted with recently. Madurai Guruswami Desikar passed away. He was one of the senior most Oduars of Dharmapura Madinam. I asked him how did that come into picture. Even he said, I'm not sure, but especially in Tenpandi Nadu, when we say Tenpandi Nadu, down south Madurai, for the last 200 years, till about 50s, they played sarangi as an accompanying instrument for Oduar inside the temples. So such traditions are not recorded, not preserved, not documented, of course, not digitized. We pay very little attention to it because to understand a temple in temple architectural scale, you need to have the knowledge of agamas. So on one hand, we are losing agamas day by day, and manuscripts are being lost, or manuscripts are being sort of collected by individuals and institutions. The National Sanskrit University in Tirupati is doing a phenomenal job, and we all know that Institute of French Pondicherry have some amazing collection. And right from Sambandha Sivacharya, who brought many critical editions of Ajitagama and Rauravagama and all that, which continued by scholar T. Ganesan. Even after his retirement, Mr. T. Ganesanji is doing his best to bring out agamic texts. We all have to pay attention because unless you study the agamas, you will not be able to understand and appreciate temple architecture. Because there is a inscription in Tirunendravoor where it says Panchama Sabdam have to be played in the temple. The Panchama Sabdam, the epigraph is that Panchama Sabdam means 5 sounds. There could be 2 Shankas and 2 Madalams. But Ajitagama clearly quotes what are those instruments are. 2 wind instrument, 1 percussion instrument, all that veena has to be played. So unless we do these cross studies of agamas, agamic texts, which are largely intangible, though we have been doing our best to publish and study these agamic texts, still these are not enough effort. And there is a wonderful collection of texts called Vaikanasa Agama Kosha in 11 volumes, have been published by National Sanskrit University in Tirupati, which needs to be translated. I've been pushing scholars whether we can, through our NGO, whether we can try to attempt to bring those texts into English, and so that people can read and understand, respect. We are not going to become agamis or priests, but I'm just saying for us to understand our cultural heritage better, we need a lot of work to be done on that front also. This is the Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan ji's recording that was found in the Real World Studios archive when they were trying to move that storage space, accidentally found and then published that. Please watch that, the Chain of Light documentary, which is about 9 minutes on YouTube. Very high quality documentary. Next. This is digitization of manuscripts that we do for Prastara. This was a request from a family from Mysore. The Shaivite text we digitized for them. Next. Next. This is the handwritten music notation of Sri M.D. Ramanathan sir. I would like to thank Sri Balaji Ramanathan Anna for being kind enough to share some of the notes with me. Next. Yeah. This, though it is tangible, I wanted to tell you there was a great Advaita Sabha in Kumbakonam. We are trying to do a documentary on that. We are work in progress. Advaita Vidyashala. Advaita Sadas used to be conducted in Kumbakonam. Now it's owned by a private, it's by a family. Yeah, next. In that house, there is a beautiful mural of Devi there. That's why I wanted to have the photography, because those things now, paintings, of course, once we lose them, we don't have enough people to kind of restore them. There are some conservation people, experts who will work on this, but on smaller scale, people are not willing to take it up also. So we need to safeguard these also. So we have to photograph and document and digitize. It was taken on natural light. Yeah. And now currently we are planning to document the Oduar traditions in Tamil Nadu temples. We have just started a couple of episodes. We yet to be published. All this will be published in the future. And this is Mailapur Sadgurunatha Oduar being kind enough to sing the Pumbavai Padiham just outside her shrine. Yeah.
Mattitta punnayam kanan mada mayilai kattittam kundan Kabali charam amandan Uttitta panbin உருத்திர பல்கணத்தார்க்கு அட்டிட்டல் காணாதே போதியோ பூம்பாவாய் கானமர் சோலை கபாலீச்சரம் அமர்ந்தான் கானமர் சோலை கபாலீச்சரம் அமர்ந்தான் தேனமர் பூம்பாவை பாட்டாக செந்தமிழான் ஞான சம்பந்தன் நலம் புகழ்ந்த பத்தும் வல்லாறு வான சம்பந்தத்து அவரோடும் வாழ்வாரே. மண்ணினில் பிறந்தார் பெரும் பயன் மதிசூடு மண்ணலார் அடியார்தமை அமுது செய்வித்தல் கண்ணினால் அவர் நல்விழா பொலிவு கண்டார்தல் உண்மையாமெனின் உலகர் முன்பருக என உரைப்பார். திருச்சிற்றம்பலம்.
The Urvas have been singing the Devaram exactly the way it was sung 1300 to 400 years ago. When I teach temple architectures to students, I always start with this. We don't know the many ancient civilizations such as Egyptian and Mesopotamian. If you go to Cairo today, whether you will see a temple dedicated to a cat or not. But we have been invoking Agni every day in this country for the past 5,000 years continuously. It is time we pay attention to that, to document and preserve, and most importantly, sustain. Thank you so much. Namaskar.